much change can one person make? If you've ever heard the story of David versus Goliath, you might think that anything is possible with enough grit, determination, innovation, ingenuity, whatever you want to add to it. But we're here to have an honest conversation about what is actually possible for one person to do in a system or an organization. I hear this a lot from my clients. They see injustices, they see inefficiency, they see dysfunction, and they wonder, what can I do about it? What is possible? And what do I just need to accept and move on from? And this is happening more than ever because we are seeing things and we're seeing them through a different lens of social injustice, of efficiency, of power play and dynamics. And people are leaving their jobs in droves. We thought, oh, this is just a 2020 thing. This is just a 2021 thing. This is just a 2022 thing. And now we're in 2023 and the numbers keep increasing. So what's going on is that people are seeing the dysfunction and they are opting to take their little slingshot and go somewhere else, whether that's a new job or whether that's another company that they start. So this is not a podcast about leaving your job. This is not an episode about saying, go run away, go find something else. We can talk about that later. This is about if you really want to stay where you are, what is possible. So think about your current situation. Is there some friction on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 like no to low friction, 10 to impossible. It hurts my heart to get up every day. I am frustrated and burnt out every day thinking about all of the stuff that went down. So pick a number. What does that number mean to you? Is it doable? Is it not? You see, there's all these articles coming out. There's like Harvard Business Review just said, like 5 reasons to leave. And my thing is like, well, where's our own personal accountability in that? And that's what I always ask my clients. What role do you play in the dysfunction? Are you a willing participant? Are you turning a blind eye? Are you trying to enact change? Are you a contributor to the friction? It's an honest question that I don't think a lot of people are willing to ask. And what I see showing up is that there's a mismatch of expectations. And if you've listened to any past episodes, all relationships break down because of unmet expectations. So we have a different expectation for our coworkers, for our job, for the policies, for the processes. We have high expectations and clearly they are not being met. And instead, that gap is being filled with judgment, with frustration, with resentment. And then who's carrying the weight of that? It's us. The individual who's experiencing it is carrying the stress of it. And this is where we have more power than we think. You see, the way that you enact change is not about banging on the drums, being the squeaky wheel. That allows you to get noticed. But real change happens when you model the change you want to see in others. And what that does is it opens up the space for 2 things to happen. For you to get clarity about whether or not others around you want to change, and to open the door for other people to step through when they're ready to make that change. Now, the third option, and it's not really an option, is that nothing changes. But then you get that clarity of this is not the place for me because I realize what my own threshold is for this level of stress and friction. This is not the spot for me to do the work that I want to do. Now, if you are committed to doing the work, let's say it's a mission, let's say that you are in something that you have to move forward, then we need to create what we call a safety zone or an ecosystem barrier. So what that means is adjusting your expectations. So if our expectation is that other people will change and will improve because they should, because it makes things easier or better, by relieving that expectation of other people, it allows us to have less judgment and pressure on ourselves. So we can only focus on what we do. We can only focus on what we think. We can only focus on what we're stressing on or choosing to stress on. This is a choice. And I think a lot of people are very self-righteous in that stress and that judgment. By making you the problem, I no longer have to manage myself. I no longer have to make my actions on the chopping block or on the microscope, under the microscope. So if you want to feel different, what do you need to support that? So imagine that it's a dial of pressure and judgment. And again, we can use a numeric scaling tool on this. So 0 to 100%, like full scale pressure of judgment. And what would it look like if you could back off like 50%? Think about what's clawing you and making you want to hold on to that 100%. What does it serve in you by holding on to that 100%? And what would it allow you to release if you backed off from it? If you turn that dial 50% down? Now, you still have standards. You still have a high quality of work product. You still want to see things improve, but it allows you to stop being an asshole. It allows you to stop being the target, because guess what? People aren't paying attention to your high standards. They're not paying attention to your high quality of work. They're paying attention to you being judgmental and being a jerk. The whole message is missed. So think about where you're having friction and where you might be misunderstood in certain situations, and where you can adjust how you're showing up. This isn't about changing who you are, but about lessening your own self-judgment and also lessening the judgment on others. So this is how you can be like the David in your own Goliath situation. It starts internally about how do we release our own internal pressure? How do we get back into what matters most? Doing a good job and creating safe environments for people, increasing collaboration. And the thing is, you might be in a very toxic, dramatic situation, but at least you will have the clarity to know that you analyze and assess your own situation rather than making it about somebody else. Then it's a misfit. It's not, I got to get the hell out of here. Because guess what? If you go somewhere else, you will recreate the same patterns. Undoubtedly, in relationships, in work environments, everything. The unresolved patterns of the past experience will continue to emerge until you resolve them. So this is how you resolve it: stepping back and assessing, what role am I playing? How am I contributing to a better outcome? And is this an opportunity for change? And if it's not, what's my next step? So this is how you can David the Goliath of a toxic situation, by owning your role. Hope this was helpful. Y'all keep being awesome.